Thank you everyone for joining us today. I've seen a couple of folks still coming in. So let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Squid Appetizer series. This is a recurring series that we're doing where we look at a lot of the really great use cases for using Squid. There's all kinds of things, big, small, and all of them save time and make life easier for the folks that are responsible for delivering applications and making life easier for the end user. And so really exciting to do these. We've already done 3 so far. So I would encourage you to check out our webinars that are on demand on our website. We'll try and post a link in there in the chat at some point, but we've done 3 so far that are pretty exciting. I'll do a quick recap. My name is Matt Brown. I'm product manager here at Squid, one of multiple product managers working on a team to try and make the Squid product as good as it can be. And I'm taking over for John Nelson, who has left Squid after 7 years at this company. He's a longtime friend and mentor. I'm devastated to lose him. He's such a great guy, but we wish him the best of luck. And we're going to try and live up to his legacy. I've traded on his beard for a long time. We had similar beards. People recognized the beard, so oftentimes I would pretend I was John Nelson just to get a little bit of a rush there. So John, we're going to miss you, and we'll try to do right by you. So we've done 3 of these appetizer webinars so far. I did the first one on dynamic forms. That's something that you see in Salesforce, a lot of cool stuff in Salesforce. And then there are ways that Squid can help you get above and beyond and go even further. Rob Hatch looked at work.com. He's another PM that I get to work with regularly. And that's a really great one. That's something that Salesforce is focusing on a lot right now with helping folks reopen. Squid's going to be a great way to extend the work.com package. The last one that we did, Wen did a session on app design and using our Design System Studio, just an incredible tool to let you manage the visual styles and the branding of your app without ever having to do any CSS. So really, really cool functionality there. So go check those out. One thing that all these have in common is that we're trying to hit a lot of those places where you hit that code barrier, the declarative cliff. So Salesforce is a great platform, great technology, but you have complex needs for your organization. And sometimes you get to this point where it's either going to be declarative spaghetti to go deliver it, or you're going to have to throw over your requirements and have that be built with custom code. There's always going to be times when you have to do code, but you want it to be really targeted. You want it to be really specific because code is always going to be the most expensive option. So we're trying to find a lot of those common places, those code points, and show you how you can do that declaratively, point and click, drag and drop using Squid. We're going to look at one of the most popular areas on the Salesforce Success community today. We're going to look at related lists. So I'm pleased to introduce Chris Stern, Senior Pre-Sales Solutions Engineer here at Squid. He knows the Design System Studio better than just about anyone and has built some awesome things in his day. So Chris, what are you going to be talking about today with related lists?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Appreciate that introduction. Very kind of you. Also, I'm getting used to marketing gave me this sweet, cool microphone thing. I feel a little bit like a podcaster right now, so trying to get used to that. Yeah, so today, related lists. We're digging into some really cool stuff, and I think it really highlights Squid's ability to extend functionality. And so, as Matt was mentioning, where sometimes you will get to a custom requirement and realize, okay, if we're actually going to finish out what we're trying to achieve here, we're going to have to turn to custom code. We've run out of sort of out-of-the-box declarative solutions. And what Squid does is we allow you to actually keep going with that declarative solution before needing to turn to code. And so if for all the Salesforce admins and other Salesforce certified folks out there, you'll know in study guides and tests and all those kinds of things, every now and then they'll throw out a question of what to do when a solution you're no longer able to do it declaratively. And there'll be options like write Apex or Visual Force or look at the App Exchange or do something like that. And the answer is invariably like go with the declarative solution first. So whether that's the App Exchange or whatever it may be, we are there to help in that exact regard. And so Salesforce best practice of declarative first is great. We love that. And we just provide the ability to, keep going declarative. And so we're going to show you how declaratively, I'm not going to say that word 100 times today, a few times though, more probably, we are going to extend some of the functionality of related lists. So I'm going to share my screen and we will jump in.
And real quick, before you do, just so you all know, I will be monitoring the chat for questions. If there's a good question as we go, I'll bring it up. Otherwise, we'll try and get to it at the end. So please feel free to type those in as we go. And I'll be jumping in if I see something cool, just to, rah, cheer you on, Chris.
Thanks, Matt.
Without further ado, take it away.
Cool. And Matt, just want to verify, can you see my screen?
Coming through.
This little record detail page? Okay, sweet. So starting here.
You might want to zoom in a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yep. Awesome. Let's do that. How's that?
I think that's great.
Okay, cool. So this is a Lightning detail page, obviously, and we've switched on the enhanced list capabilities for this related list here for Lightning. And this is actually really, really nice. I like the ability to, you can quickly reset column widths. If you've adjusted those, you can create a new record. You can also go into a list view if you want to view all, and get some pretty robust filtering, very robust filtering actually, on the records that are in that related list. Some of the common requests that we've heard though, and that some of our customers are using Squid for, is when it comes to related lists, sometimes there are needs for folks to be able to display more than just the 10 column limit in a related list. Other times there's a lot of requests for folks who are wanting to just inline edit really quickly a record, as opposed to editing in a modal, just being able to quickly kind of inline, just bang through the list, make the quick changes, save, so on and so forth. And the ability to do that, if you wanted to bring that in, where you're sorting and you're filtering and you've got more than 10 columns, you can do that, but you're looking at custom code. And so there, again, it's just the decision tree. If you want to go the custom code route, it will be able to deliver that for you, which is fantastic. Or if you want to stick with declarative, we'll show you today how Squid can let you solve for those types of requests without having to write any code.
Chris, that's a great point. I do want to call something out there, because this is, like you said, this is always the decision tree. That customness, it's great to be able to have things as awesome as possible with your standard out-of-the-box experience of whatever it is that you're using. But every organization has their unique way of doing things. And actually, that's your edge. So you want to find that unique combo, that way of doing business, that's going to be how your team has an edge on your market. And that's great. But the challenge with that is, if you go do that, actually implementing that into your software, into your practice, that takes time. That potentially takes code. So that's always the trade-off. We're trying to give you the best of both worlds here, so you can find that custom way of doing things and actually implement that custom way of doing things in your software, in your experience here. So keep going.
Matt, your interjections are always money, man. Great stuff. So I'm going to flip to the app composer now. This is the Squid app composer. This is how you're building out your Squid pages. And we're starting with some stuff that I've already built for this, but I'm going to walk through kind of how we would configure our view of this related list to handle some of those sort of sought after asks and requirements. Quick tour though, top left up here, I'll just open this panel. These are all the different components that come with Squid. So this is the way we present data in the UI. So things like tables and forms, wizards, buttons, all sorts of fun stuff that you drag down into your canvas. As you can see below, I've dragged some things down here. And from there, you can configure them and align them in certain ways, whether it's responsive grids and lots of divisions and all sorts of things that I'm not going to get distracted by right now, because we're going to finish this up in the next 20 minutes, but really, really fun stuff. But for the purpose of today, we're going to show opportunities and cases and kind of how Squid can extend the capabilities declaratively of how users interact with those related lists. So I've dragged a table down here. I've pointed it to my opportunity model, and this is how Squid brings data into your page. And so the model at a high level, just think of it as a configured SOQL query. You're saying, hey, I want to bring in these fields. You just tick the boxes from the opportunity object. You select your object. And then I can drag a table down and point it to that model, which I've named related ops, and then just surface the fields from that model here in my table. So because there's not a limit though to the number of models on a page, I've brought in another model that's querying my case object. And so I brought in some fields from the case object that I want to display here. And this is really cool. I've queried the case model again from a separate model, but there's a difference here. This one is called related cases open because I've put a condition on it where I'm saying only bringing case records where is closed is not true. In other words, open cases. And this condition is always on. This is kind of the sort of a where clause in your SOQL query. Then I've got another model down here, so pointed at case, but this time my condition says case records where is closed is true. So I'm going to display on the same related list view two sort of filtered views of my cases in this example, open cases and closed cases. And that's all you need to do to configure that, is have sort of two separate queries, two separate conditions looking at that same object. So getting into the page and now thinking about, okay, we've got, the request from users to have more than 10 columns. However, we recognize that for some users, they're going to want to see different columns than other users. Maybe at some point it will be useful to see all 13 or 20 or however many columns you might need. But for the majority of the time, maybe most users just want to see, 6 or 7. And so we can accommodate that by letting users selectively at an individual level choose which columns are going to come through for their table. The way that we do that, so this table component, anytime I click on a component, the properties panel changes in the top right to give me properties for whatever I'm clicking on. So for this table, a few properties I'm going to modify here. We want to, on the display configuration, I'm going to take this box to allow users to reorder columns. This actually looks really cool. This is a new feature of Squid where you can drag and drop your column tables around. It's awesome. And then allow column hiding. And this is what is going to let users do what I was just describing, where do I want to see all my columns or do I just want to see, a select few? The other request that comes up often is kind of sought after is, hey, I want to be able to just quickly export the fields that are the data that's in this table. And so I tick the box to enable export on the table. And then we get some export options. This allows users to export all of that data directly into a CSV. You just open that in Numbers or Excel or whatever it may be. So we've made a couple changes here to just get this table a little bit friendlier for the end user. And I'm going to save this. And I'm actually going to deploy this in Lightning so that we can start to interact with it in real time.
Hey, Chris, before you do that,
yeah.
Go back to the Squid Composer for a second. I just want to call something out here because it might be a bit of a paradigm shift if you're used to working in Salesforce, what we're doing here. Obviously, we're configuring components. You're going to be familiar with a lot of those kind of practices in the Lightning App Builder. But what's unique about Squid is that we're splitting out your management of this page into the data layer and then the visual layer. So what Chris was showing before with those models, this ability to be able to go get any object, related, unrelated, tie them together, don't tie them together, and have that rich layer of data in your page, and then separately configure, okay, here's how I want to show it. I want to show it in a table. I want to show it in a chart or in a form. Being able to have those things separate, that's a really good kind of developer best practice, but we're bringing it into the admin world so that a declarative admin can go and say, all right, I'm going to set up my data layer, access to all these objects, everything I might need in this situation, and then I can go configure all my visual elements there. So that might be a bit of a paradigm shift, but that's how we can have essentially multiple related lists on the same object in the same page, just with different conditions that are applied like you had with the cases there. So that's one of the secrets. It's an open secret, but it's one of the secrets to the magic of working with Squid, of working with that data layer. So anyways, I just want to talk about that. So you're about to show, we're going now into Lightning, and you want to talk a little bit about what are the environments that Squid can work in Salesforce?
Yep. So we are native in both Classic and Lightning. You can deploy Squid in communities, in the Lightning mobile experience, any of those kinds of things. And the reason we're native is just real quick. When you're building Squid pages, when you're dragging and dropping these components around on the page, Squid is just generating XML that the browser is interpreting at the runtime. And so it's not creating any sort of visual force or aura or apex or anything like that that might sort of clash if you're going between a classic or a Lightning experience. And that allows it to be 100% native in whether you're building in any of those environments. I'm in Lightning App Builder right now, but Community App Builder, has a very similar look and feel. And this is how you would go about putting a Squid page into your Lightning experience. You can do any of the different layouts that they provide, whether it's 3 columns or 4 columns or just 1 column, whatever it may be. I went with as you can see, sort of that 2 column, 2/3 over here and a 1/3 over here with that top header. So I've got some Lightning components, just out of the box Lightning components for a detailed page. And then over here on the left, if you scroll down, because Squid's a managed package, we appear here under the custom managed. And what I'm going to do is I've dragged a related like accordion down here. And all I do is I grab the Squid page Lightning component. This is a native Lightning component, not like a visual force wrapper. I drop it there, and it's going to default to the last page that I was editing, which conveniently enough is the one that we're interested in, filtered lists. And so now I can see, there's my table of opportunities. Here's my table of cases. I've got a tab set here so we can toggle back and forth between the open and closed, basically looking at tables pointed to those 2 individual models that I showed you all. And you might be wondering, how are we getting context? How does this Squid component know to display opportunities that are tied to whatever detail page we're looking at? And the answer is on each of these models, we have another condition that is saying, hey, only bring back opportunities or cases where the account ID, so that lookup, is page URL parameter value. I'm looking for the ID string. So anytime I'm in a detailed page, Squid is looking for that ID in the URL, and it's then passing that ID into this query so that we always contextually have the opportunities and cases that relate to whatever detail page we're looking at. So I'm going to save there and go back to the actual, I've already activated this, so I'm just going to go back to my Lightning runtime here, and we'll see the Squid page that I've built now down below. With the context of Edge communications up here. So again, this is really nice. We're taking advantage of the really powerful out-of-the-box Lightning components. The view is familiar for users. This isn't going to be a jarring experience for them to come down. We've got a Lightning design system out of the box to sort of match and blend in, as it were, with the Lightning design. And here you can see our opportunities table is now just showing opportunities that related to Edge communications. And our cases are also tied to that as well. So here's, again, the open cases, here's closed cases. So really nice to be able to just switch back and forth between all those. If we're over here, you can see all these cases, but there's oftentimes folks are just wanting to, they just want to see the open stuff, or they want to see some other, value. This gives you that ability to say, okay, here's kind of your default view, as it were. And if you want to see these other ones, great, they're there, but we're going to keep them sort of selective for you to go look at if you want. All right, so I'll move quickly through in the next 5-10 minutes or so, and we'll have some time for questions at the end. But those fields that I ticked on the properties of our table, okay, so going back here to our table where we said we want to enable export, and where we have the display for configuration, we want users to reorder columns, allow column hiding, all that good stuff.
You just took it to your case table. Is that what you were meaning to do?
Pardon?
Did you want to do it to your case table or your opportunities table?
So I've got it on both now. I just want to show that ability. Yep. Thanks, Matt. No, you're good. And so by checking those, that's given us the ability to, so I did that to case. I've already done it to opportunity, so I won't refresh. But those configurations now have given us this little 3-dot menu. And so I can say export table data, and it's going to export into a CSV, which is great. I've also got, now I'm showing all 13 fields, and I can do horizontal scrolling to be able to show, all these fields. This is nice, but again, going back to not every time you come to this page does a user necessarily need all those fields. But what's valuable is that the admin has provided the user the ability to see anything that they might need, and then they can kind of curate that for their own view. So here, as an end user, I can say, you know what, I don't want to see I'm just going to pick a bunch of them. I don't want to see any of these fields. Just give me the ones that I care about. And so now my table is only showing those fields that are relevant for me. but I don't have to go to an admin and say, hey, I need to see description and discount percentage. I can just individually say, you know what, I want those back in here. So I'll apply those to my table. There's my discount description and discount percentage. The other thing you may have noticed is horizontal scrolling is tucking behind this forecast category column. If I want to change that, I can just drag that. And now I've said, you know what, I want just my name column to be sticky, and I'm going to scroll behind the rest. And again, each of these is just at an end user basis. I was actually on with the SI before this webinar. I was actually working through this. I figured, why not get a dry run in? And one of the questions that came up from the SI was, hey, but is this, basically tied to an individual user, or is this reflected across kind of the user community? And it is just an individual user. So if Matt was looking at a page here and he wanted to hide description and it unticked it, he wouldn't see description. But if I did want to see it, I would. And so that's really nice too. Just let users kind of curate their own experience in the page.
Right. So that uses the Squid personalization framework that remembers the columns that you've selected, filters that you may have applied, tabs that you may have selected, which is really powerful. And I wanted to call something else too, because you showed the export piece. What we're trying to do here is make it so that anytime you're working with a list of data, it could be a list page or a dashboard, or it could be a related list. You're using the same principles, you're using the same components, and you have access to all the same tools. So when you think about, the capabilities here, you can have as many filters as you want. The user has as much control as they need over those fields. One thing that's cool about the export option too is that you as an admin can choose which fields get exported. Yeah. You just export all the fields in the table, which lets you do some really cool things. You could just show 5 fields by default, but when they export, they get a much richer view of the things that they need. So you have a lot of control over the options that the end user has when it comes to interacting with this list. Very cool. Sorry, keep going.
Nope, great point. Forgot to highlight that. That is a useful one. So the last thing I want to show, or actually not the last thing, that was silly. A couple of things I want to show here just to wrap up. One of the things that is also, we saw a lot of requests from the admin perspective is, hey, I want to have a default sort on this table for my users when they come in. And they want to be able to sort by more than just one field. And so the way that we can do that in Squid is at the model level. So on that query, there's this fields to order records by property. And so I've put in close date descending and then amount. So I'm sorting my table. Anytime a user lands on this page, by default, that list of opportunities is going to be sorted by 2 different fields, which is really nice. And so I've got my close date here descending, so 9/18/20, down. That wins in terms of that's the priority sort. And then inside of that though is the, and I've actually hidden it, the amount field. And so let me bring that back in, open this up a little bit. And so you can see based on date, it's also building up sorting from lowest to greatest. Really useful. Filtering. This is probably, of all the things that we've gone over, this is probably the most sought after, just the ability to filter related lists. And so I've got a couple different filters up here just to show you some of the possibilities. We have a toggle. This is just filtering to only show opportunities that are closed. Untoggle that. Stage, this is a multi-select filter, which is nice. So I can select whatever stage I want and it will filter. So if I choose value prop, I think we've got one there. It's going to filter just those opportunities. So untick that. 2 things left now. So one, we're going to show you how, this is probably one of my favorite things. Squid has really powerful conditional rendering. And if you watch Matt's Squid Appetizer webinar, he got into a lot of some of the power of Squid's conditional rendering across different fields and values and sort of how Squid lets you do that across custom and standard objects. Squid also lets you do conditional rendering though based on values from other objects. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to conditionally render a table or a column in my opportunities table based on a value from my account detail. And the way that we do that, so the way that we have Squid components listening to Lightning components is pretty simple. So under my related ops model, under the advanced properties, I'm going to tick the box that says auto sync with other Lightning components. I'm going to save that. And then the field that I'm going to show, I've already set up the conditional rendering, is this lead source field. And for the display logic, I'm going to say, hey, only render this column if the account type field, so I'm looking up to account and going over to the type field, is equal to prospect. And so let's go see what that looks like in runtime. So just refresh this page.
And this highlights something that, gets asked a good bit. Squid is all about creating custom user experiences. Folks use it to do things like, highly designed and branded communities and portals. But what we're looking at here is a different use case, and it's a question that gets asked a lot. Can Squid work alongside other Lightning components? And the answer is a resounding yes. We absolutely want you to use Squid along with custom standard Lightning components, and we provide you with hooks so that they can talk to each other. Awesome.
Yep, so we've just changed our type field to prospect, and you can see that lead source is not a value in this table. And so once we save it though, so we'll update that, our Squid component is listening to our Lightning component, and there's our lead source column. So really powerful, because you can, again, sort of curate that experience to make the most sense for the context in which users are going to find themselves without building out multiple pages to handle sort of all those different variants. And the last thing that we'll do as we wrap up, I know we're coming up sort of, we were targeting around like 30, 35 minutes, is, yeah, this has been fun. Matt, you want to talk a little bit about your idea for a chart and why you think that's valuable?
So here's the thing. There are a lot of tools out there that are really good tools that might do a very specific thing. There's grid tools, there's form tools, and if that's all you need, that's great. But a lot of the time, if you want to think about your whole experience, you don't just want to be thinking in a grid-shaped box or a form-shaped box. You want to use all of the tools at your disposal to build the right experience. So when you think about building a custom application, you might want to have a grid with a drill down to a form with an embedded chart. You want to use these different UI tools to create that custom experience that you need. And so we want to get away from this idea where all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So in something like this, it's like, okay, this is a related list, but let's really think about what we're doing. We're actually getting a deep view, a rich view. And I don't know if you show this, but that list was inline editable too. So
oh, yeah, good point.
You can edit the values in those fields. So I've got my list, it's filterable. This is starting to look like contextual reporting. So if I think about wanting an experience that's really like a contextual embedded report that's also inline editable, I can start to think about what are some of the different elements that I would want in there. So when you were doing this, you were saying, all right, if this is a prospect account, I want to see the lead source for my opportunities. Well, that's a grid, that's great, but what if I want to visualize it a little bit better? That's where something like charts and visualizations might come in. So what are you doing here?
Yep, so I just dragged the chart component down into the canvas. I'm going to stick it above the tables that we've got there for opportunities and cases. And I'm going to point my chart at my related ops model. So it's going to be showing opportunity data. And for the axes, the category, think of this as the x-axis. I'm going to spread this out by the lead source. So across the bottom, across that x-axis is going to be split by lead source. And then series, I'm going to add a series to this chart. This is just, the stuff going up the y-axis, the columns. And so I'm going to sum the amount field on the opportunities. And then I'm going to split it. So if there's any opportunities that are in the same stage, I'm going to split by stage name, but also have the same lead source. We are going to display those in one column and stack them together. And so that's how we configure that. So I'll hit save there. And because let me refresh this, because the chart component is looking at that model for opportunities that our table component is looking at, and because the filters that I was showing you all are impacting that particular model's query, what gets really awesome, okay, so there's our chart, sweet, split out by lead source there, split by stage, so there's phone inquiry for perception analysis, phone inquiry for closed one. But because these filters are tied to that model, if I update this, my chart and my table now are going to reflect whatever it is that I'm looking at. So I can get a really quick kind of slice and dice my data down in the context of where I'm working at it and take action on it, as opposed to maybe running a report and then in light of that report going somewhere else. I can kind of stay in context, stay in the zone, and do what I need to.
And I just want to reiterate, the way that you're able to do that is because, like you just said, you've got your models managing your data, and then your visual elements are separate from that. So you could have one model that is displayed multiple ways. In this case, you're displaying the same data in a chart and in a table, and then you're using a filter set to control both of those. It's only possible by having this kind of split paradigm like that, which is really exciting. You can get these kind of these actionable, contextual dashboards in detail pages. But we haven't even looked at, some of the cool things you can do with actions on charts and being able to click on the getting the drill down. But hopefully that starts to, that's the whole point of an appetizer, right? We want to whet your appetite and start to paint a picture of what might be possible if you can start to think outside the box a little bit.
Cool. Yeah. We're going to wrap it up there. It was a pretty meaty appetizer actually, but open this up for any questions and we can wrap up. This will be posted online, a recording of this. And then Matt, you'd also mentioned something about GitHub. Could you speak to that a little bit, maybe as folks put their questions in the chat?
So what's great about Salesforce is that they've got these standard objects that almost everyone uses in their CRM, opportunities, cases, accounts, so on and so forth. What's great about that is that we can create pages and share those pages pretty easily. So if you want to kick the tires on Squid, get a sense of what it can do, especially with your standard objects, because I know you're using accounts, you're using opportunities, we actually have this page available. You can go install Squid in a dev org or in a sandbox and go grab these pages from our sample pages repo on GitHub there. There's a lot of help on the community in our docs on how you can do that. That's a great way to go get started and see what Squid can do. That should be going up later today. The link to the repo there is in the chat. So if it's not there when you go, just sit tight. I think it's coming this afternoon.
Yep. No, that repo's up. I think the recording will come a little bit later, but the repo is up, so you can go grab that stuff.
Get it now.
And yeah, throw it in your detail page and let us know what you think. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with it. So any questions, Matt, before we wrap up from the chat or anything that came through?
Let's see here. Nope, I think it's just some of the links in the chat. That's just some of the other resources there. Just want to, maybe just a quick reiteration. How do you get this into a Lightning page again?
Yep, so from Lightning App Builder, I'll just go to edit page. Squid's that manage package there on the bottom left, and you can just drag the Lightning Squid page component over into your canvas anywhere you want in any of those columns, and then just point that Squid page to that Lightning component to the name of your Squid page, which for us is the filtered lists page down below. So yeah, whether it's Community App Builder, Lightning App Builder, whatever it may be, that's how you deploy. Really easy. So filtered lists is the name. You can see our page right here is called filtered lists, and that's what's showing then.
Yep. So if you go get those pages from the repository, it's a simple matter of adding them to your page list in Squid, and then go to your Lightning page and you can just drag it in. Literally 5-10 minutes to go from seeing it to actually having it in your page. Awesome. Okay, well, if no other questions, then we'll go ahead and finish up. If you have anything else, or if you need some help with getting those pages in your org, go ahead and reach out to us on the community. That's community.squid.com. There's a lot of great conversations on there. You can see the kinds of things that folks are building with Squid. Be on the lookout for another one of these appetizers coming up soon. We'll be hearing from Mary Grace Rogers, one of our design gurus here at Squid. That's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it. Have a great day. Stay safe and well.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Matt. Have a good one.
Bye.